A lonely rancher purchased an Apache girl who had been exchanged for ammunition. His ranch sat on a rocky plateau where the wind blew cold at night and the sun scorched the ground during the day. He was a quiet man, used to long hours alone, tending to his mechanical livestock and repairing the weathered structures that kept his homestead running. The frontier was harsh, and few people ventured this far. Those who did often left quickly, complaining of loneliness or the dangerous wildlife that roamed the plains. Ryder, however, had grown used to it. He had learned to find beauty in the silence and comfort in the rhythm of work. He liked the sound of the wind through the metal fences, the soft whir of his machines, and the occasional call of a distant alien bird. One morning, Ryder rode his hovercart to the nearest trading outpost, a small cluster of buildings at the crossroads of old mining trails. He needed spare parts for a broken drone and hoped to trade some of his surplus energy cells. The outpost was busier than he expected. Merchants shouted their deals, and travelers from distant settlements exchanged stories. But something unusual caught Ryder's eye, something out of place. Near the edge of the market, a group of traders was speaking quietly, their voices low and serious. Between them stood a girl, no older than 15, her dark eyes sharp and alert. She wore clothes of a style Ryder recognized from old Earth histories, Apache patterns woven into simple, durable fabric. What made Ryder pause was the way the traders spoke about her. They didn't see her as a person. They called her a trade, something exchanged, a bargaining item alongside crates of ammunition and food rations. Ryder frowned. He approached carefully. "What's going on here?" he asked, his voice firm but calm. One of the traders, a tall man with a scar across his cheek, glanced at him. "Nothing for you to worry about, stranger. This one has been traded. Someone needed supplies. She came with them." Ryder's heart tightened. The girl's eyes met his, and in that instant he saw something. Intelligence, curiosity, and courage beyond her years. He didn't like the idea of someone being treated like an object. He thought of his lonely ranch, the long hours with no one to share them with. He thought of the skills he had that could teach her and the knowledge she might bring in return. Impulsively, Ryder made a decision. "I'll take her," he said. The traders blinked in surprise. "I'll buy her, for fair trade, of course." The negotiation was quick. Ryder offered enough energy cells and mechanical parts to satisfy the traders. The girl, Naya, didn't protest. She simply looked at Ryder with a mix of suspicion and curiosity. Ryder felt a pang of responsibility as he handed her a small, sturdy pack. He had no idea what the future held, but he knew one thing. He would treat her as a person, not a possession. The journey back to the ranch was long. The outpost disappeared behind hills of red rock, and the wind swept across open plains. Naya rode beside Ryder in silence, occasionally glancing at the strange robotic cattle grazing nearby. They moved with an odd grace, guided by AI cores Ryder had programmed himself. Naya tilted her head, studying them with fascination. "You raise these animals?" she asked finally. Her voice was soft, yet carried a confidence that caught Ryder's attention. "Yes," Ryder replied. "They need care just like any other livestock, and they need someone to guide them. I'm their guide." He glanced at her. "Do you know much about animals?" Naya smiled faintly. "Not the ones you have, but I know the land. I know where to find food, water, and safety. I can help you." Ryder nodded. He liked her honesty and her practicality. They reached the ranch as the sun dipped low, casting long shadows over the rocky fields. The house was a sturdy structure of metal and stone, with panels that collected sunlight and walls reinforced against storms. The mechanical livestock were already returning from grazing, their sensors lighting up as they recognized Ryder's hovercart. Naya stepped down cautiously. Her eyes widened as she looked around. "It's different from the settlements," she said. "Quiet, open." "Quiet can be good," Ryder said. He led her inside, showing her the basics of the homestead. the food synthesizer, the control panels for the robotic livestock, and the small garden where he grew vegetables. Naya moved carefully, touching things with curiosity but not carelessness. She asked questions Ryder had never thought anyone would ask, and her observations made him rethink how he had always done things. Over the next few days, Ryder and Naya settled into a routine. Ryder taught her how to maintain the drones, check the energy cells, and even operate the hover cart. Naya shared her knowledge of the land, pointing out hidden water sources, edible plants, and safe paths through the rough terrain. Ryder was impressed by her intuition. She noticed patterns in the weather and the wildlife that he had missed despite years of living here. One evening, as they repaired a damaged drone together, Naya spoke quietly. "I've seen places where humans only think about themselves. They take and destroy. But you make things work with the land, you respect it." Her words were simple but powerful, and Ryder felt a warmth he hadn't experienced in years. "You've learned quickly," Ryder said. "I didn't expect that." He smiled faintly. "Maybe I'll learn something from you too." A week later, a storm rolled across the plains. Dark clouds gathered quickly, and wind howled across the plateau. Ryder had weathered many storms before, but this one was stronger than usual. Naya helped him secure the livestock and tie down equipment. Together, they worked in perfect coordination, combining Ryder's mechanical know-how with Naya's understanding of the land. By the time the first drops fell, the ranch was as ready as it could be. They stood on the porch of the house, watching the rain sweep over the plains. Ryder looked at Naya, seeing a partner, a student, and perhaps a friend. Naya looked back, her eyes reflecting determination and curiosity. The frontier was harsh, and challenges would come. But together, they were stronger than they had been alone. As night fell, the storm still raging, Ryder felt a sense of hope. The lonely days of his ranching life were ending. With Naya by his side, the frontier no longer seemed quite so empty. There was work to do, lessons to learn, and perhaps a future to build that neither of them could have imagined alone. And somewhere beyond the horizon, Ryder sensed that the land itself was watching, curious about these two humans who had dared to meet it not with fear, but with respect, ingenuity, and friendship. The storm had passed, leaving the plains washed and gleaming under the bright morning sun. Small puddles reflected the sky like mirrors, and the wind carried the fresh scent of wet earth and blooming alien plants. Ryder Quinn stepped onto the porch, breathing in the crisp air. He could hear the faint hum of his mechanical livestock as they began to move, adjusting to the new day. Beside him, Naya watched with wide eyes, fascinated by the gentle glow of the robotic creatures as sunlight reflected off their metal bodies. "You've got many animals," she said, her voice soft but filled with curiosity. "Do they all follow you everywhere?" Ryder smiled. "Mostly. They know who keeps them safe, but they need guidance, care, and checks every day. Even machines need attention." Naya nodded thoughtfully. She bent down to touch one of the smaller robotic cattle, running her fingers over its smooth, polished surface. "They are alive in a way," she said. "They watch, they listen, they respond." "They are," Ryder agreed. "And like any living creature, if you treat them well, they thrive. If you ignore them, they fail." Their morning work became a learning process, not just of ranching but of understanding each other. Ryder taught Naya how to read the energy monitors on the drones, how to balance the nutrient levels for the synthetic feed, and how to repair minor malfunctions in the robotic animals. At first, Naya struggled with the complex controls, her fingers fumbling on the touch screens, but she learned quickly, picking up techniques Ryder had never imagined teaching anyone else. One afternoon, as Ryder repaired a hovering water drone that had been caught in the storm, Naya wandered toward the edge of the plateau. She crouched beside a small alien bush, examining its leaves and the tiny creatures that scurried around its roots. Ryder watched from a distance, smiling quietly. Her curiosity reminded him of himself when he first arrived on the frontier, always looking, always questioning. "Be careful," Ryder called gently. "The edge is slippery after the rain." Naya looked up, smiling. "I know, but I can see things better from here. You can't always trust the machines to tell you where to find the water or food. The land has its own patterns." Ryder nodded. She was right. Machines could track temperature, moisture, and movement, but they could not read the subtle cues in the soil, the sky, or the behavior of the animals. Naya's knowledge of the land complemented his technological skills in ways he had never anticipated. Over the next few days, Ryder began to notice small changes. The ranch felt alive in a new way. Naya's observations helped him prevent problems before they started. She showed him where certain plants could be harvested for energy supplements, where underground streams could provide extra water, and how to predict weather shifts by watching the flight patterns of alien birds. Ryder, in return, taught her how to interface with the ranch's control panels, how to repair drones, and how to fly the hovercart safely. One evening, Ryder and Naya worked together to fix a malfunctioning water collector. Sparks flew and the machine hissed as it calibrated its systems. Ryder wiped sweat from his brow. "This one is tricky. If we don't fix it, half the livestock will go thirsty tomorrow." Naya studied the panels carefully. "Maybe the sensor is off. Check the pressure gauge here." She pointed at a tiny dial Ryder had overlooked. He followed her advice, adjusting the controls, and within minutes the collector hummed steadily. Ryder looked at her, impressed. "You're a natural," he said. "I didn't expect someone your age to understand this so quickly." Naya shrugged, a small smile on her face. "I pay attention, that helps, and I like learning." As days passed, they began to share stories. Ryder told her about his childhood, growing up in a settlement far to the north, learning to repair machines and care for animals. Naya spoke of her family and her culture, her stories of the land and the traditions passed down through generations. Ryder realized that her knowledge was not just survival skills, it was a philosophy, a way of living in harmony with the land that he had only just begun to understand. One afternoon, while checking the perimeter of the ranch, Naya paused near a rocky outcrop. She knelt down, brushing her hand over the soil. "This land remembers," she said quietly. "Even if humans forget, the land never forgets. It watches, it listens, and it responds to those who care." Ryder listened, considering her words. He had always thought of the land as something to work with, to use, to manage. But Naya saw it differently. She treated the earth as a living partner, one that demanded respect and understanding. He began to see that this perspective could change the way he approached the ranch, the animals, and even life itself. Their partnership grew stronger, built on trust, respect, and curiosity. Ryder realized he was no longer lonely. Naya's presence brought life to the ranch, and her insight challenged him to think in new ways. They laughed together when mistakes were made, like the time Naya accidentally released a drone herd in the middle of the night, causing chaos among the mechanical cattle. They worked together to round them up, joking and sharing stories as they moved across the plains under the stars. One night, as they watched the sky from the porch, a faint light appeared on the horizon. Ryder squinted, trying to make sense of it. "That's odd," he muttered. "No settlements this far, no travelers either." Naya leaned closer, her eyes bright. "Maybe it's a signal," she said, "or something in the land. Sometimes the patterns change before something important happens." Ryder considered this. "Could be," he said slowly. "We should keep an eye on it." The next morning, Ryder decided to investigate the source of the light. He and Naya prepared the hovercart, packing tools, rations, and sensors. Naya guided him through hidden paths she knew, avoiding rough terrain and areas where alien wildlife might appear. As they moved closer, the light grew stronger, pulsing with a steady rhythm. Ryder tapped the controls on the hovercart, trying to analyze it. "It's not a natural light," he said. "It's some kind of device, Someone or something is out there. Naya's eyes sparkled. Then we should see it. Maybe it's a message or a place we can learn from. The light led them to a small clearing where an old communication device lay half buried in the soil. It was ancient, a mix of human and alien technology, its panels flickering weakly. Ryder knelt beside it, examining the wires and circuits. This is old tech, but it still works. Whoever made this knew what they were doing. Naya crouched beside him, tracing patterns on the device with her fingers. It's a connection, maybe to other people, maybe to the land. Ryder felt a surge of excitement. The frontier was no longer just a place of isolation. It was full of mysteries waiting to be understood. And for the first time, he wasn't alone in facing them. With Naya by his side, he felt confident that they could uncover the secrets of the land, the wildlife, and the hidden history that lay beneath the plains. As they worked together to reactivate the device, Ryder realized that their partnership was more than survival. It was a collaboration of knowledge, of skill, and of trust. Each day brought new lessons, new challenges, and new opportunities to grow. He looked at Naya, seeing her not as a stranger or a burden, but as an equal, someone who could match his determination and expand his understanding of the frontier. By the time the sun set, painting the sky with shades of orange and violet, the device finally hummed to life. A soft, pulsing signal radiated into the sky, sending ripples across the land. Ryder and Naya watched in awe, knowing that this signal was only the beginning. Somewhere beyond the horizon, other lives, other mysteries, and other challenges awaited. And for the first time in his life, Ryder felt certain that he could face them, not alone, but with a partner who shared his curiosity, his courage, and his respect for the land. The frontier had changed. And so had he. The morning sun rose over the horizon, painting the plains with shades of gold and amber. Ryder, Quinn, and Naya stood on the porch, watching the mechanical livestock graze. The air was crisp, and the land seemed calm after the previous day's discovery of the mysterious device. Yet beneath the quiet, Ryder sensed something stirring, a change in the patterns of the plains. "Do you feel that?" Ryder asked, squinting at the distant hills. Naya nodded. "Yes, the wind is different. The animals are nervous. Something is coming." Ryder trusted her instincts. Naya had an uncanny ability to notice patterns he would never see. He quickly gathered tools, sensors, and repair kits, preparing for whatever the day might bring. By mid-morning, the first signs appeared. Small, insect-like creatures with translucent shells began swarming near the edges of the ranch. They weren't dangerous in themselves, but their behavior indicated a larger threat. Ryder observed them carefully. "They're scouting," he said. "Something bigger is out there moving toward us." Naya studied the creatures. "They respond to vibrations in the ground. If we use the land carefully, we can guide them away without hurting them." Ryder nodded. Together, they began to implement a plan. Using old sensors and small devices, they set up vibrations in specific patterns across the fields, creating paths that directed the creatures away from the livestock and the house. The plan required precise timing and coordination. Hours passed, and Ryder marveled at Naya's insight. She could predict the creature's movement almost instinctively, adjusting the vibration patterns before Ryder even noticed a change. The teamwork was seamless, a blend of human ingenuity and intuition. Suddenly, a low rumble shook the ground. Ryder's mechanical drones whirred in alarm, and the robotic livestock gathered close, their sensors flashing. Naya pointed toward a distant hill. "The herd of larger predators," she said. "They're coming this way." Ryder's heart raced. These creatures were massive, multi-legged, and surprisingly intelligent. They had been curious about the ranch for weeks, but now they were moving with purpose. Ryder realized that he could not rely on brute force. He had to use his mind, his machines, and Naya's guidance. He quickly devised a non-violent deterrent. Using drones equipped with lights and sound emitters, He planned to create illusions of a larger, more dominant presence. Naya helped him program the devices, adjusting frequencies to mimic predator sounds native to the plains. Together, they set the drones in a semicircle around the livestock. As the massive creatures approached, Ryder activated the drones. Bright lights flashed and deep, resonant sounds echoed across the plains. For a moment, the predators hesitated, unsure of the strange phenomena. Ryder and Naya held their breath. Naya whispered, "Now, guide them." She pointed to a narrow canyon nearby. Ryder used the vibration devices to gently nudge the creatures in the desired direction. Step by step, the herd moved away from the ranch, following the combination of lights, sounds, and ground signals. After what felt like hours, the last of the creatures disappeared over the hills. Ryder exhaled, wiping sweat from his brow. Naya smiled, her eyes bright with satisfaction. "It worked," she said. "They are gone and no one is hurt." Ryder grinned. "We make a good team," he said. "I couldn't have done it without you." The day wasn't over yet. While securing the drones and checking the livestock, Ryder noticed another problem. A section of the pasture had been damaged by the storm 2 days earlier. Water had pooled in low areas, creating soft mud that trapped some of the robotic cattle. Ryder groaned. Repairing the pasture and freeing the trapped livestock would take hours. Naya, noticing his frustration, suggested a solution. "Use the drones to lift them," she said. "They are designed to carry small weights. We can attach them one by one, gently guiding them out of the mud." Ryder laughed. "I never thought of that. Clever idea." Together, they rigged a system using several drones, hooks, and sensors. Slowly and carefully, they lifted each robotic animal from the mud and set them back onto solid ground. Ryder marveled at Naya's ingenuity. She had an eye for solutions that combined practicality with creativity, a skill he had rarely seen in anyone. As evening approached, Ryder and Naya sat on the porch, looking over the plains. The sun dipped low, casting long shadows over the land. The day had been exhausting, but it had also been rewarding. They had faced challenges together and emerged stronger, their partnership deepening with each trial. "You're amazing," Ryder said, breaking the comfortable silence. "I've never worked with anyone like you." Naya smiled, a hint of pride in her eyes. "We help each other. That's how humans survive, right? By learning, sharing, and adapting." Ryder nodded. She was right. Human ingenuity wasn't just about machines or technology. It was about cooperation, observation, and using the mind to solve problems. And with Naya, he felt that he had finally found someone who shared his vision of working with the land, not against it. That night, a faint light flickered in the distance again, the same signal they had discovered earlier. Ryder and Naya exchanged a glance. "It's calling us," Ryder said. "Maybe it's more than a signal, maybe it's a guide." Naya's eyes sparkled. "Then we should follow it. We have to know what it wants to show us." Over the next several days, Ryder and Naya prepared for a journey. They upgraded the hover cart, stocked supplies, and mapped a route using both technology and Naya's understanding of the terrain. Ryder marveled at how their skills complemented each other. He handled the machines and logistics, while Naya guided them through hidden paths, avoiding danger and making their journey more efficient. As they set out, the plains stretched endlessly before them. The wind carried the scent of wet earth and wildflowers, the hum of drones accompanied their steps, and the distant mountains loomed like silent guardians. The light ahead pulsed steadily, guiding them forward. Along the way, they discovered signs of ancient settlements, remnants of humans and aliens living together in harmony long before modern settlers arrived. Naya's knowledge helped interpret the signs, identifying patterns in the structures and markings that Ryder would have missed. Together, they pieced together the history of the land, learning lessons from those who had come before. At one point, the hovercart broke down in a rocky canyon. Ryder knelt to inspect the damaged motor. "We're stuck," he muttered. Naya crouched beside him. Not stuck, she corrected. We adapt. Following her guidance, Ryder rerouted energy through auxiliary circuits, used spare parts creatively, and with Naya's help, they repaired the motor in less than an hour. The hovercart roared back to life, and Ryder couldn't help but laugh. You really are incredible, he said. Naya grinned. We make a good team, remember. As night fell, they set up camp near a small alien lake. The water reflected the stars like a mirror, and the quiet was broken only by the soft hum of drones and the occasional call of distant wildlife. Ryder stared at the sky, feeling a deep sense of satisfaction. The frontier was challenging, unpredictable, and full of mysteries, but it was also full of opportunities for ingenuity, cooperation, and discovery. Naya sat beside him, her eyes reflecting the stars. The land is alive, she whispered. And it is teaching us if we are willing to learn, Ryder smiled. And I think we are ready for whatever comes next. They knew that the light ahead, the signal, the mystery, and perhaps the adventure, was only the beginning. Together, they would face whatever challenges the frontier presented, using their minds, their skills, and their trust in each other to overcome any obstacle. And somewhere deep in the plains, the land seemed to acknowledge them. Two humans, learning, adapting, and thriving together in a world that demanded both courage and intelligence. The plains were quiet under the soft light of morning, but the horizon carried a sense of movement. Ryder Quinn and Naya had followed the mysterious signal for days, navigating rocky valleys, hidden streams, and alien flora that seemed alive with color and life. Every step of the journey had strengthened their partnership. The combination of Ryder's technological skill and Naya's knowledge of the land had made the impossible seem simple. As they approached a broad valley, the source of the signal finally became clear. A small settlement of humans and a few alien traders had gathered around a large communication tower, its panels flickering with faint light. The structure seemed old, repaired many times over, yet it pulsed steadily as though it were alive. Ryder and Naya slowed the hovercart as villagers and traders noticed their arrival. A tall man with a calm presence approached. "Welcome," he said, voice firm but kind. "I am Eldrick, head of this frontier council. You are the ones following the signal, I assume?" Ryder nodded. "Yes, we saw it from our ranch. I'm Ryder Quinn and this is Naya. We didn't expect to find a settlement," Eldrick smiled. "Few do. The plains are vast and only those willing to observe and respect them can find this place. Tell me, what is your purpose?" Ryder hesitated. "We follow signals, solve problems, and learn. That's why we came, to understand." Naya stepped forward. "We want to work with the land, the animals, and the technology, and we want to share what we've learned." Eldrick studied them carefully, then nodded. "You may have the skill and knowledge this council values, but we need proof. There is a challenge ahead, one that will show whether your partnership can benefit not just yourselves but the wider frontier." Ryder and Naya exchanged a glance, a mixture of excitement and determination. They had faced storms, creatures, and mechanical failures together. This was a new test. The council led them to the valley's edge, where a series of terraces had been damaged by a recent flood. The terraces held experimental crops and water systems that supported the settlement. If not repaired, the food supply would be at risk. Ryder's eyes scanned the scene. "We can help," he said. Naya added, "but we need to work with the land, not against it. I can guide water flow, plant placement, and natural barriers." Eldrick nodded. "Do it, and the council will see your abilities." Ryder and Naya began the work immediately. Ryder used his drones to lift and reposition heavy equipment, while Naya guided water channels and suggested plant arrangements that maximized growth and minimized soil erosion. Together, they repaired broken water conduits and stabilized the terraces with natural reinforcements. Villagers and traders watched in awe. Ryder's technical skill was impressive, but Naya's insight into the land amazed them. She noticed patterns in the soil, how water would flow during storms, and how certain plants could support each other without machinery. Ryder incorporated her suggestions into his plans, adjusting sensors and drones in real time. By the third day, the terraces were restored. The water flowed steadily, the plants were secure, and the settlement's food supply was safe. Eldrick approached, eyes bright. "You have done well. Not only have you repaired the damage, but you have improved it. This shows both intelligence and respect, qualities we value here." Ryder felt a surge of pride. Naya's smile reflected the same satisfaction. For the first time, their efforts were recognized beyond their ranch. They had proven that humans could adapt, cooperate, and innovate without violence or domination, qualities Eldrick called essential for survival in the frontier. That evening, the council held a small gathering to celebrate their success. Food was shared, stories were told, and songs were sung. Ryder and Naya felt a warmth they had never experienced at their isolated ranch. For years, Ryder had been alone, and Naya had only recently joined him, yet now they were part of a community that appreciated skill, wisdom, and teamwork. As the celebration wound down, Eldrick pulled Ryder aside. "There is more to show you," he said. "Beyond the valley lies a region few have explored. Ancient ruins, left by a civilization that lived here long before the frontier settlements. They were intelligent, wise, and left knowledge behind. Only those who can combine technology with an understanding of the land can uncover it safely." Ryder's eyes widened. "Ruins will need preparation and guidance." Naya stepped forward. "We can do it, together." Eldrick nodded approvingly. "Then you shall lead the expedition. The council will provide resources, but the journey and the discoveries will be yours." The next morning, Ryder and Naya prepared for the expedition. They checked the hover cart, gathered sensors, energy cells, and supplies, and studied maps of the unexplored region. Naya pointed out hidden dangers, unstable cliffs, quicksand-like mud, and areas where alien wildlife might appear. Ryder adapted their technology to navigate safely, using drones to scout and monitor conditions. As they set out, the frontier felt alive in a new way. Every hill, every stream, every pattern of movement in the wind seemed to communicate with them. Naya's guidance and Ryder's technical skill worked in harmony, allowing them to traverse terrain that would have been impossible for a single traveler. Along the journey, they discovered small clues of the ancient civilization, carved stone markers, remnants of irrigation channels, and fragments of tools. Ryder analyzed them carefully, noting engineering techniques that were surprisingly advanced. Naya interpreted patterns and symbols, recognizing connections to the land that indicated sustainable living practices and harmony with nature. One afternoon, as they approached a canyon, they spotted a series of terraces carved into the rock. "This is incredible," Ryder whispered. "They built here and they used the land perfectly." Naya knelt to study a series of symbols etched into the stone. "They respected the land just like we do. Every line, every placement has a purpose." They taught lessons for those who could see them. Ryder felt a thrill of excitement. Their discovery was more than historical, it was a guide for the future. By understanding the ancient civilization, they could learn new ways to live on the frontier, combining technology with natural knowledge. As night fell, they camped near the canyon, using drones for light and warmth. Ryder looked at the stars, reflecting on the journey. "I never imagined we'd find something like this," he said. Naya smiled. "It shows what humans can do. We can build, explore, and learn not just for ourselves but for others. And when we work together, we are stronger than we think." Ryder nodded. "I see that now. The frontier is not just survival, it's discovery, creation, and cooperation." The next morning, they entered the canyon, carefully following the patterns left by the ancient civilization. They found more ruins, small dwellings, terraces for crops, and intricate water channels. Ryder marveled at the engineering, while Naya admired the harmony with the land. Together, they mapped the structures, documenting and learning from every detail. Suddenly, Naya noticed a pattern in the stones leading deeper into the canyon. "This way," she said. "The path is hidden for safety. Only those who understand the land and the design can follow it." Ryder followed, impressed by her insight. The path led them to a hidden chamber, partially collapsed but still intact. Inside, they found a device similar to the one that had guided them to the valley, a communication hub left by the ancient civilization. Ryder examined the controls, noting both familiar and alien technology. "This is amazing," he whispered. "It's a record and a guide. Whoever built this wanted to teach future generations." Naya traced her fingers over the panels. "It's more than technology, it's philosophy. Balance, respect, intelligence, these are the lessons. The land and its people are connected." Ryder felt a deep sense of purpose. Their journey had led them here, to a place where human ingenuity and respect for nature were intertwined. They were not alone in the frontier. They were part of a legacy, one that demanded understanding, cooperation, and creativity. As they prepared to return to the settlement, Ryder realized that their discovery would change everything. The council, the settlers, and even distant communities could benefit from these lessons. And he knew, with Naya by his side, they could bring this knowledge safely into the future. The frontier had challenges, dangers, and mysteries, but Ryder and Naya had learned that human intelligence, partnership, and respect for the world could overcome them all. Together, they were not just survivors. They were pioneers, explorers, and teachers, shaping the frontier for generations to come. The canyon lay quiet in the early morning light, its shadows long and cool. Ryder, Quinn, and Naya had spent the night near the hidden chamber, their minds alive with questions about the ancient civilization they had discovered. The communication hub glowed softly, waiting to share its secrets with those willing to understand. Ryder adjusted his hovercart, making sure all tools and sensors were ready. Naya inspected the surrounding terrain, her sharp eyes catching every detail of the land. "This place is incredible," Ryder said, stepping closer to the hub. "It's more than ruins, it's a lesson." Naya nodded. "Yes, every stone, every line, every pattern has a meaning. They wanted someone to learn from them, not just to survive, but to live well." Ryder activated the hub, and a soft hum filled the chamber. Panels illuminated, revealing holographic images of ancient humans and alien allies working together. Water channels filled terraces, crops thrived, and animals moved freely, guided by both machines and knowledge of the land. Ryder and Naya watched in awe. "They weren't just surviving," Ryder whispered. "They were thriving and teaching others to do the same." Naya traced a symbol on the panel. "Look here. This pattern shows a method for collecting water without harming the land. And here, a way to grow food efficiently using natural resources and simple machines." Ryder's mind raced. The possibilities were endless. With this knowledge, settlements across the frontier could prosper without destroying the land. Humans could work with nature, combining ingenuity and care. Suddenly, a small compartment opened in the hub, revealing a set of devices, tools that could repair or build machines more efficiently. Ryder examined them carefully. "These are practical too," he said. "They didn't just record ideas, they provided the means to act." Naya smiled. "It's perfect, knowledge and action together." They spent the day studying the hub, documenting every detail and taking notes for the council. Ryder tested some of the tools, learning how to operate them safely, while Naya focused on the environmental patterns and practical applications. The chamber felt alive with energy, as if the ancient civilization itself was encouraging them. By late afternoon, they had learned enough to return to the settlement with guidance that could help many people. Ryder packed the tools carefully, and Naya ensured that their notes were clear and detailed. The journey back would be long, but their purpose was now stronger than ever. As they traversed the canyon, Naya pointed out natural hazards, hidden fissures, unstable rocks, and patches of quicksand-like mud. Ryder adjusted the hovercart's sensors to avoid them. They worked together seamlessly, each step a combination of observation, intuition, and technology. Along the way, they noticed signs of wildlife returning to areas damaged by storms. Naya paused, crouching to study the tracks. "Even the land heals if we don't interfere too much," she said. "We can help, but we must respect it." Ryder nodded. "That's what I've learned too. Technology and humans alone can't do it. We need balance." When they finally reached the valley settlement, Eldrick and the council were waiting. Ryder and Naya presented their findings, detailed plans, tools, and lessons from the ancient civilization. The council members examined everything carefully, asking questions and marveling at the depth of knowledge. "This is extraordinary," Eldrick said. "You have not only uncovered history but have shown how humans can use it to live wisely, harmoniously, and successfully. You have proven that partnership, respect, and ingenuity are the greatest tools we have." Ryder smiled at Naya. "We did it together," he said. Naya grinned back. "We always do." The council decided to implement some of the techniques across nearby settlements. Water collection methods, sustainable crop arrangements, and ethical use of machines became part of training programs for new settlers. Ryder and Naya were invited to teach others, sharing their experience and lessons from the ancient civilization. Over the next several weeks, the valley buzzed with activity. Ryder demonstrated advanced machinery and drones, while Naya taught observation, survival skills, and harmony with the land. Together, they inspired settlers to think differently about the frontier, not just as a place to survive, but as a place to live creatively and respectfully. One afternoon, as Ryder checked the energy cells on a drone, Naya approached. "Do you think the frontier will ever be fully tamed?" she asked. Ryder shook his head. "No, and I don't want it to be. The challenge, the unknown, that's what makes humans strong. We learn, we adapt, we grow." Naya smiled. "And we do it together." They walked toward the terrace gardens, where settlers were testing water channels and planting crops based on the ancient designs. The land was alive, productive, and peaceful. Ryder felt a deep sense of fulfillment. He had begun as a lonely rancher, isolated and uncertain, but now he was part of something bigger. At night, Ryder and Naya stood on the porch of the settlement's main building, looking up at the stars. The plains stretched endlessly, quiet but full of life. The signal from the ancient hub had faded, but its lessons remained, guiding humans toward a future built on understanding, cooperation, and respect. Ryder's thoughts drifted back to their journey, the storm, the alien creatures, the challenges of the ranch, and the hidden canyon. Every obstacle had tested their skill, patience, and ingenuity, and each time they had found solutions without violence, without fear, relying only on intelligence, observation, and teamwork. "This is only the beginning," Ryder said softly. "There's so much more to learn, so much more to explore." Naya nodded. "And we will, together. We can take these lessons to other settlements, help people understand how to work with the land, and maybe even uncover more ancient knowledge." Ryder smiled. "Humans are capable of amazing things when we use our minds and hearts together. I think we've just scratched the surface." The wind swept across the plains, carrying the scent of blooming alien plants. The mechanical livestock grazed peacefully in the distance, drones hummed quietly, and settlers worked in harmony with the land. Ryder and Naya stood together, partners, explorers, and teachers. They had turned challenges into learning, isolation into community, and discovery into opportunity. Somewhere far beyond the valley, other mysteries awaited. Ryder and Naya knew that the frontier was vast, unpredictable, and full of life. But with ingenuity, cooperation, and respect, humans could thrive. As the night deepened, the stars shone brightly overhead. Ryder and Naya looked at the horizon, feeling the heartbeat of the land beneath them. The frontier was no longer lonely. It was alive with possibility. And humans, when they worked together, thought creatively, and respected the world around them, could rise to meet any challenge, leaving a legacy for generations to come. The canyon, the plains, the valley, and even the ancient civilization itself had taught them one clear lesson. Human ingenuity, respect, and cooperation are the keys to thriving in any world. And Ryder Quinn and Naya, side by side, had learned it, lived it, and would continue to share it with the frontier. The future was wide open, the horizon endless, and humanity's potential limitless.